into 2046, in 30 years' time, we will be like this. Our kids will be like this. This will be the environment so that it's short, okay? And secondly, when you're doing your statement, your vision for 30 years' time, the wawata, don't worry about how, okay? And don't worry about the difficulties. Oh, I don't know if we could do this, or it's going to be hard. Are we going to have to do this? You don't worry about that yet, okay? We're just looking at the status thereby, okay? Because you got 30 years, right? Don't worry about the difficulties. We're going to talk about that in a second, but don't worry about them now. Because if you start worrying about all the difficulties, then your vision will start coming down to the backyard fence, right? What you want to do is have a vision of that star. If you aim for the star, you probably get over the backyard fence. But if you aim for the backyard fence, you're probably going to get into the mud, right? So, and I heard a couple of really good examples of a short statement about this is what we're going to be like, okay? In terms of our fluency or our competency, the paths we're going to go on, the amount we're going to use amongst ourselves. I heard people say it's going to be the reo matua, it's going to be the first language of our mogopuna. Our network, and maybe their location. There's some things we can't determine, but some of these things we can dream about. And that's what a dream is, free, okay? And so this morning with Charisma, you talked about 2016. That's this year. This is where you are now. This is where your whole whānau is in your whānau stocktake. Now we look in 2046, okay? We're not worried about any of this stuff just yet, but we're going to look at that in a second, okay? Because if you know where you're going to go, you're more likely to hit it, okay? Got that? Any comments about that process about writing a vision or talking about a vision that you have, or a question? We all good? Do you think you'll be able to do this with your whānau? You know, your own whānau, your cousins or your sisters' whānau? Do you think you'll be able to ask that question with them? Okay. Second question. What I want for this one, if you can stay in your groups, can someone come and get a couple bits of paper for each group? The second question you'll look is the main things we have to, it says take, but I think it should be do. My bad. Main things we have to do to achieve our vision. Okay. Now, this morning you looked at where you are now, and now we've just said, hey, in 2046 we're going to be here, right? And like any journey, you know where you want to go, you know where you are now. There's some things that have to happen to actually get that, okay? And so anytime you think about a vision, there's some implications of where you want to get. Now, if your whānau at the moment is not, hasn't got much fluency, and in 30 years' time you want it to have fluency, at some stage you're going to have to put some serious study in an immersion environment to get fluency, okay? So this is your question. Write down the things you'll have to do to achieve your vision, okay? What are the implications of your vision for your family, for you and your family, okay? For this vision to be realized, what needs to happen, okay? Actually, if you want to use a bit of paper to write some ideas down, I'm going to use it for the next one. What are those things that are critical to achieving your vision? And if you don't do these things, you will certainly fail. Okay? So we're not writing every little detail. We want the big stuff. Okay? What has to happen? If you haven't got a network at the moment and you said, yeah, we're going to have a big network, what has to happen? Okay? Right? If you haven't got fluency and you're the parent, what do you need to do to get fluency? Right? or to increase your fluency. If you are a Māori family and you're not speaking in the whare, what do you need to do? What's something you can do that will help you achieve this? This might be very easily answered, right? Well, I've got to go and learn. Cool. Okay? That's cool, and that's all you need to do is write it. If I'm going to achieve this, I need to do this. Okay, so go for it. Does anybody have any questions? No, not obstacles yet. That's the next question. Don't worry about the obstacles yet. I just want you to write down what you have to do. Don't worry about, oh no, we can't afford to go to university. Don't worry about that yet. Just if you say, oh no, I've got to go and learn somewhere in an immersion environment, write it down, okay? Don't worry about the worries or the fears or the obstacles or difficulties or challenges. Just what do you need to do to make it happen, okay? I want you to find a natural grouping, maybe 3 or 4 around you, and I want you to share your statement. It might not be fully formed, but I want you to share it with others and just start to speak it out. Because you know when you start speaking something, it's the first step for it to actually happen, okay? The things that you've just talked with in your groups, okay, oh, we need to do this and this and this, right? What are going to be the difficulties in achieving those? Like, oh, we haven't got enough money. Oh, I'm working too busy. You know, our kids are, you know, or whatever it is. So what are going to be the problems in achieving the things that you just talked in your groups about? Okay? Right? So just write them on a bit of paper, and you can work as a group on this one, eh? You will have different ideas, but say, oh yeah, for me it's this. Because if someone shares it, you might get a good idea, okay? Could be fear. Maybe you don't live near a kohanga. Maybe you've got, what are you going to do about your in-laws? Tomo. Okay. And as you write them down, maybe they come a little bit smaller than they were before. Or maybe you didn't realize they were there before and now you do. Okay. Now, I want in your groups to choose one of those things. What maybe the thing that's common to you or the major issue. And you're going to now write down what you can do to overcome or perhaps mitigate, okay, make it a little bit less, these difficulties and these obstacles and these challenges, okay? So, like build a bridge and get over it, okay? If this is your barrier, your taupā, what do you need to do to build your bridge and get over it, okay? So just choose one. Now, you're going to have to go back to your home, when you go back home, to really go through some of the other ones that relate to you. But let's just do one, okay? And then you can feed back to me afterwards.
Are we using time and being busy as an excuse when we can maybe as a whānau look at restructuring our daily and weekly timetable that we have with our whānau, Mondays, wakaama, as example, Tuesday, and how we can inject small amounts of time into our daily plan as a whānau. And those who are career drivers, how can they incorporate te reo, and that might be plugging the phone into the radio and listening to wānanga, waiata Māori, and prioritising, and how passionate are we about te reo Māori and how much time we're going to commit to spending time learning. One of our whānau is time to go to wānanga, to go to reo courses. The reality of it is that they might have to go one at a time while one looks after the whānau, the other goes off to kura. Kia ora.
So the difficulty we chose was how do we enrol other members of our whānau to commit to this vision that we're creating. We talked about, the need to really drill down into what moves and inspires each and every member of the whānau to get them to want to be on the waka alongside you. So, making it fun, making it practical, to whakamana te reo Māori, and then also on a wairua level, just remembering that we're not doing it alone, that, whatever your version of God, universe, whatever that looks like, as well as your tupuna who have gone before you, that they're there beside you.
A sort of a practical sort of solution. It's around time. For us, we talked about when is the time to start, and we shared when times were there, and for me it was I don't know, as soon as we wake up, to share a small conversation with each other. We're in bed, there's a time for us to start right there and then. A practical way to do it. One of the experiences in my life was that when I went to bed, when I was living with my parents, they were in bed talking, and I went to sleep with that. And when I woke up in the morning, my parents were talking. So for us, it was like, yep, that's the first time. When we wake up, we talk to each other. From there, if the children are hearing us conversing, then it hopefully will relate to them that, hey, if we are talking together, we're taking the time to do that, we can take the time to do it with our children. If that slowly works in the rest of the whānau, they start doing it first thing in the morning, our mokopuna tuarua will have those experiences as well. Very simple concept, and the time factor, really, if we start doing it now, first thing in the morning with each other, hopefully it'll snowball into the rest of the whānau. Hopefully.
Updating it and changing it as our lives change. Hilda?
Kia ora tātou. We talked about committing, changing our commitments and making new commitments to te reo. And just by everything we're talking about, actually committing to it, going and doing it. Kia ora tātou.
Kia ora tātou. Our barrier was a lack of a plan or strategy, and what we came up with to build a bridge over that were find professional planners or wānanga such as this, look at other examples of reo plans, revisiting our plan often, letting it be fluid and adaptable, maintaining strong connections with other whānau hapori who are also in that reo planning place, and also paying it back, providing your experiences to others and giving it back to others, so peer support and the idea of that if you are teaching something, then you will also learn more and continue to build on your own knowledge on that one. That's about it.
Being realistic about your realities, making sure that you don't carry the kaupapa by yourself and looking after yourself. Seek aspirational role models, find a language planning mentor, finding and surrounding yourself with like-minded people, continuing on your own real journey and keeping it fun.